Hello everyone. So earlier today we worked with Flash and we were trying to uh, incorporate images and text into our project and kind of make a dynamic slideshow type of thing, although it's not exactly a slideshow. But basically we wanted to recreate this where an image would come in, text would come in, and they'd go and fade out. And here's a koala, beautiful, majestic, amazing. One of the students actually thought it looked kind of like something from the Academy of Science. In any case, so what we want to do is, first off, we're going to create a new document, and we're going to be working with ActionScript 2.0, so we'll just say OK there. And we're going to be calling on some previous lessons where we worked with just tweening images or the ball across the stage. We're going to be working with a similar concept today, except we're just adding in the use of the type tool, and we're also going to be using the alpha, which is basically the transparency. So let's start off by importing our images. We're going to go up here to File, and then we're going to go to Import, and we're going to go to Import to Library. From there, and we'll give it a second at some point today. There we go. We're going to pick our 3 images. So I'm going to be working with my jellyfish. I'm going to hold Control to select multiple images. My koala, and again I hold Control and click on the 3rd image. That way I can select 3 things at once. I click Open, and nothing happened. Or did it? If we go to our library, you'll see we have 3 pictures all over here in my library. I'll start out with my jellyfish. I'll click and drag it over, and immediately you're going to notice that it's humongous, and we want to shrink the size down. To do that, we could use the transform tool right here, but the easier way to do it is actually to click on the image and from properties to shrink the width and the height. Now, right now I have this little link. I'll zoom in so you can take a closer look. This link right here is closed, which is good. They're locked. That means the proportions will stay the same if I change the size. Otherwise, you're going to have something where it's too wide or too narrow. It won't look right. So we're going to shrink this down to about 250. Sounds good. Now from here, I'm going to have the image start off to the left. You'll notice in my timeline, I just have the first frame with a keyframe in it. I'm going to go to frame 30. I'm going to push F6 to insert a keyframe. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want it to take 1 second for it to move to the right and fade in. 1 second, I have in my settings I've set my frame rate to 30 frames per second, so in 1 second it's going to show 30 frames. So at frame 30, I want the jellyfish to be over here. Now if I play my movie right now, it just starts here and it's just going to go, and then all of a sudden it's going to appear on the right. I'm going to have it stay on the screen for 2 seconds, which is 60 frames. So 30 plus 60 is 90. We go over here to frame 90. I'm going to push F6 to insert a keyframe. And I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to leave it there because from 30 to 90 is just going to stay there. And then I want it to move to the right and fade away. And I want that to last 30 frames, which is 1 second. So I go to frame 120, insert a keyframe, and continue it along that path to the right. So if I play my movie, it starts here, pops to the right, pops to the right. So now we want it to transition and fade, or first of all, we want it to move slowly to the right, so we're going to be tweening it. I go to the first frame, right click, create a classic tween. We're not going to insert a motion tween right now. We're just going to be inserting a classic tween. And we're going to go over to frame 90 and have it do the same thing. Now each time I did that, if you look carefully, you'll notice right here that there's now an arrow that goes all the way across from the first keyframe to the last keyframe. And if I zoom back out and play the movie, you'll see that, let's go to the beginning here. If I play my movie now, you'll see that it slowly goes to the right, pauses 2 seconds, and slowly goes on to the right. The next thing is I want it to fade in. To do that, I'm going to go to frame 1. I'm going to right click, or I'm not going to right click, I'm going to click on frame 1, and I'm going to click on the image. If you notice, my properties changed and it went to the properties for this image, or this symbol. From here, I'm going to change the style so that the it says alpha, and I'm going to have the alpha be 0. When you do it, your alpha is probably going to be 100. Just change that to 0. What that does is it makes your image completely transparent. We're going to do the same thing at the end because I want it to fade out at frame 120. So I click here. I'm going to click on the image, and I'm going to go over to my color effect. I'm going to go to the alpha, and I'm going to change the alpha to 0. Now what that does is if we play our movie, you'll notice the image comes in, fades in, stays 2 seconds, takes a second to go to the right, and fade out. Hello again. I had to help a teacher real quick. I'm back. So so far we have this fading in and out. So the next thing we want to do is name our layer. Because we're going to have 6 layers, it's a really good idea to start naming them now. So I'm just going to call this Jelly Picture or Jelly Pick, whatever you want. It's just for you. And I'm going to create a new layer for my text. So here's my new layer. We'll call it Jelly Text. And that's not how you spell text. I just shortened it. So don't show your English teacher, please. But what we're going to do now is we're going to put on our text. Now remember, anytime you want to animate something, it should be a symbol. If I'm going to tween something left and right and all that stuff, it has to be a symbol. So I can't just go ahead and use the type tool here and expect it to animate. It's not. So instead, I'm going to go up to Insert and click on New Symbol. Shortcut, by the way, is Control F8. I'm going to type in jelly text. And it's going to be a graphic, and we're going to say OK. So here we go with our jelly text symbol. We're in the symbol right now, so pay attention to that. And I'm going to go on the type tool, which I'm already on. I can change the size here. And we're going to talk about letter spacing in just a second. So over here, I'm just going to create a box and type in majestic. And a couple things. It's a little bit small, so I can change the size over here by clicking the size and moving it to the right. And I can change the spacing in between the letters. Now this is kind of gives it a neat effect. I'm a big proponent of having space in your projects if you're working on a flyer or whatever you want. You don't want to have everything jammed together. It doesn't usually look good. Some space actually makes it look a little bit nicer for different reasons. So I'm going to change the size a little bit there and bring this in, make it a little bit tighter. Oops, too far. And I'll use my selection tool up here at the right and move it over so it's closer to this, the center. That's always a good idea. And we're going to go back to scene 1. From here, all I need to do now is go to my library and I'll find Jelly Text. Before I drag it over though, I'm going to do something that's going to make this project a little bit easier. If I drag it over now, the Jelly Text will last all the way from frame 1 all the way through frame 120. I don't want that. I wanted the Jelly Text to start at frame 30. And to make life easier, let's undo that. I'm going to go to frame 30 where I want it to begin to come in and push F6. That inserts a keyframe. And then I want to remove the frames after frame 30. This again is not necessary, but it's just going to make your job easier and it'll make it easier to tween in a minute since we're just learning. So first thing is I want to highlight the frames that I want to remove because these are all blank frames right now. So I'm going to click and hold and drag my mouse so that it goes to frame 20 right there. You should note that if you select it first, then try to select again, it won't work. So if I select right now and I try to select again, it moves that frame. We don't want to do that. So if that happens to you, know that the reason was that you selected it first. I'm going to select and drag at the same time. Go all the way to the right. Right click anywhere in that selection and go to remove frames. Now all the frames are gone. That's what I wanted to do. So now my keyframe is at frame 30 and there's nothing beyond it. I'm going to drag over my Jelly Text and have it kind of off to the right. Immediately I notice that my majestic is a little bit too big. So I kind of miscalculated how big I wanted it to be. So what I can do is I can just go over to my Jelly Text here and I can double click here and resize it to a smaller size. The beautiful thing about it being a symbol is that, and it's not resizing. Of course, I'm going to go here. The beautiful thing about it being a symbol is that when I change it in the symbol, it also changes in the stage. So that's kind of a cool thing. You can always go back and change the symbol, and it'll change it across the board for you. One of the advantages of working with symbols. So let's change the spacing a little bit too. Let's go back, and looks much better. Very good. So from here, I'm going to use my selection tool, have it start off to the right, and I'm going to insert a keyframe at 60 because I want it to fade in at that point. Again, 1 second long. I'm going to move it to the left here. There we go. And then I'm going to go on to frame 90, insert a keyframe there, and I'm going to leave it there. And then at frame 120, insert another keyframe and have it continue on to the left. So right now, if I play my movie, comes in, Majestic's there, pops to the left, and then ends at the left. Let's add our tweens just like we did with the jellyfish. Right click on one at 30, create a classic tween, and now it moves to the right. Very good. While I'm here, let's go ahead and change the alpha as well. I click on the text layer or image, and I'm going to go to alpha, change the alpha to 0, which it already did from before. There we go. Looks good. I'm going to continue on here. At 90, I'm going to insert another, or create another classic tween. You see the arrow popped in. Go to 120 and click on Majestic. Change the style to alpha and have that at 0. So as you can see now, comes in, Majestic fades in, they fade away and go into each other. So that's what we want to do. From there, you're just going to do the same exact thing for the other ones. I'm going to create a new layer, call it koala picture, koala image, whatever I call it, koala pic, and I'm going to insert a keyframe at 121. Insert keyframe there, F6, and then from here I can drag in my koala picture. Here you are. There's my koala. Look at those eyes, very cute. I'm going to go to the properties, click on it, and again resize it. I believe we chose 250 if I remember, so I can just type that right in there. Notice that it automatically changed the height because the proportions are locked. Set it off to the left, insert a keyframe at 30, 30 after 120, so that's 150 right there. Insert a keyframe and move it to the right. There we go, very easy. And then we're going to do the same thing, let it stay on for 2 seconds. So we're going to add 60 to that, that's 210. Insert a keyframe. I'm going pretty fast now because I'm just doing exactly what we did before. And then again, another 30 frames, that's 240. And it's going to continue on to the right. So as you can see, I'm just doing everything all over again. Insert my tweens, and then I'm just going to recreate that same idea with the text. There, tween there, and the alpha is going to start out at 0. There, and then let's go on here at 210. It's going to have a tween. Right click there, create a classic tween, and then at 240, the alpha is going to be again 0. So if I play my movie now, comes in, Majestic, goes out, and then the koala comes in. The next step is to add the text. So I think you can figure it out from there. Have fun with this project. Remember that the text comes in after the picture comes in, so that you can time it right. And from here, this is going to build. We're going to build on this and do some more fun and exciting things. Have fun with this project, and you can always email me if you need any help or have any questions. Hope you have fun with this assignment, and I'll see you next time.